And that's what they're doing. The real control over the Strait of Hormuz right now is being exercised by Iran and Oman, not the United States. What we're doing is fabricating incidents so that we can appear to be somewhat still in control of the waters around the strait. Even there, we're not very much in control, as witnessed by the fact that we're having ships hit. Apparently, the Pentagon is saying nothing about this, but we're having combatants in the North Arabian Sea, in the Sea of Oman, hit on a fairly frequent basis by drones and things like that. I don't know how much damage is being done, but I know that I've seen some pictures that look like there's considerable above the deck damage being done. But I don't know because they're hiding it all. And of course, our capital ships, our aircraft carriers, are still 1,000 miles off in the not in the North Arabian Sea, but in the Indian Ocean, because they're frightened to come anywhere closer because they're afraid they'll get sunk. So you have all of that combat power on those carriers, which is supposed to be being used right now, which isn't being used because it can't be used without threatening seriously one of our capital ships. And we're looking at the United States Navy demonstrating, if it does come any closer and gets in range, demonstrating that these 16, $17 billion aircraft carriers with 5,000 souls on board are extremely vulnerable and in fact are obsolete in this new age of high-speed missiles and massive warheads on these missiles and deadly accuracy. We're talking about Mach 4, Mach 5 missiles. And in this age of drones in swarms, carriers are obsolete. Might be 10 years before it comes out. And the one coming off very soon will probably come off at about $16, $17 billion. And the other one, I have no idea. By that time, the cost overrun will probably be up to $20, $21 billion. And both of them are obsolete before they come off the ways.
Greetings from the east to north to south. In this wicked ass west. The topic is America's military equipment obsolete. The question is, why you think America have a $1.5 trillion military budget, but produce obsolete equipment? Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
Here's what I think. In 1971, Nixon took America off the gold standard. Also around that time, they were sending jobs overseas. Why? They were sending jobs overseas to make a bigger profit. Now, this is the same way with the military-industrial complex. These personal corporations wanted to maximize profit. That's Lockheed Martin and Boeing and the rest of the military corporations. Their main goal is to do one thing: make money. There's no sense of nationalism. They don't have it. How much money can these corporations make? Now remember, at the expense of America. You know, your main focus is supposed to protect the country. You make the best equipment at the best price. But no, they have this overinflated budget. These military corporations that make the weapons. Number one, they should not be able to get away with what they do. But of course, your elected officials, they get a cutback. They're being bribed. So in other words, the protection of the nation is maybe third, fourth, and fifth on the list. Mainly, all they want to do is make money. Why is America's defense weapons obsolete? Well, number one, they're not really concerned about the weapons. You must understand that. They're making so much money, they're probably even cutting back on the equipment that they really truly need in order to squeeze out more profits. For who? For them. Now, mind you, it's only a handful of people that's making this money. Remember, at the expense of the country. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 360 or 350 million, million Americans. Okay? Now, remember, there's only a handful of people making this money at the expense of the whole nation. As a matter of fact, at the expense of the whole world. Mind you now, they sell these weapons to other countries. And these countries are finding out, hey, this stuff don't work. They're making the billions when they sell to other countries as well. But the thing is, when the countries find out that these weapons don't work, there's a problem. Now, as far as protecting these other countries in the Middle East, America's military is there for one reason, is to protect the countries in the Middle East, supposedly. Now, America have another story. America is there for simple one reason, to have military bases worldwide, so they can attack at a whim. But as far as the leaders of these countries are concerned, in the deal that they have made with America, America's military might is on their shores to protect them. And now they're finding out, hey, these weapons don't work. But still, they're overpriced. And these military corporations are making a lot of money. Hey, let's go to the next clip.
No, I mean, again, this is one of the reasons why the United States is not going to regain its status as a global military power anytime soon, because we're going to bankrupt ourselves even further buying weapons that don't work. No, that's just not how it works. But the thing that you hit on is these missiles don't work. The PAC-3 is decent, but the PAC-3 can't shoot down a high-end Iskander. Doesn't have it doesn't have the intercept, rate of intercept. It's going to go too fast. It can't maneuver. The Russians now have missiles, and the Iranians now have missiles that they fire, and they can move. Yeah. So the second the algorithm kicks in, hey, we got it. No, we don't have it. No, we don't. We've never had it. It's hitting the target. Boom. The advances in missile technology are such that neither the THAAD nor the Patriot can intercept the high-end threat coming out of Russia, North Korea, and Iran. So we're going to spend all this money building a weapon we know doesn't work. And by the time they roll in, we'll get this artificial sense of accomplishment. And I need to remind everybody that none of our weapons work. The SM-3 doesn't work. The SM-6 doesn't work. The THAAD doesn't work. The Patriot 3 doesn't work. None of these work. And now we can get to the long-range standoff systems. They don't work either.
And by the way, I wonder if you can comment on this. But I remember not long ago, maybe a year or two ago, there was a lot of reporting out that the reason why you don't see JDAMs used in Ukraine anymore is because the Russians pretty quickly figured out how to divert the guidance systems of the JDAMs so that they were never hitting the target. And I'm told, anyway, that technology, or that intelligence and that EW capabilities has been shared by the Russians to the Iranians. And so if you now go to a lot of JDAMs, those may not hit the targets. What do you know about that?
You're 100% correct. It began with HIMARS. We provided the HIMARS system, and in the first couple times it was used in June, July of 2022, we were hitting command post, ammunition thing. Everybody, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. The Russians they're going to lose the war now. Well, the Russians did a couple things. They changed their approach. They said, well, now there's a weapon that can hit ammunition dumps, so we're going to not put a big ammo dump there. We're going to split it up. And we're going to be more clever how we do it. Command and control, not a singular command post. Split it up, have better communication capabilities. And they took the HIMARS, they reverse engineered the components, and they went, yeah, we got this. And now they start firing HIMARS, and it misses its target. It's a GPS linked with inertial. So the GPS has to say you're here and the target's here. And then as you fire, the inertial's leading you in there, but it keeps getting updates, GPS updates. Boom, up, make sure you're there. Boom, up, boom, boom. And the Russians basically scrambled the GPS, and HIMARS started to miss. And then everything missed. We brought in JDAMs, dropped the JDAMs. They were never effective. They never did what we wanted to do because they missed. The Russians didn't just miss, they missed by a long way.
So you tell me, what's the purpose of a $1.5 trillion military budget? If military experts are saying these weapons don't work, now who stands to profit? I mean, realistically, who stands to profit? Instead of, going back to the laboratory and starting from scratch and produce weapons that's, number one, affordable, and number two, that's that works. It realistically work and cut the costs. But that'll never happen. There's no sense of nationalism with these corporations. No sense of nationalism. These people have one thing in mind only, and that's profit. They compare themselves to the president. He's delusional as all hell. Because I say so, it's going to work. Because I say America is the strongest military on the planet. Because I say so, it is. But when you look at the results, you don't see it. Delusional will cause your demise. Thank you for watching. I am your host. I am the one.